Good afternoon, Israel Briefers, and welcome to another week of the Israel Brief with me, Roneen Marks. And, excuse me, just a preface, I do have flu at the moment and hiccups if I don't have enough. And I debated whether or not to do an Israel Brief today, but there's so much happening in the news that I thought I will just fight through it and speak to you guys. So a reminder, as always, the Israel Brief is brought to you in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. And buckle up, because it is going to be a feisty one, and there might be some very, very fruity language, but things must be said. It is also day 661 since the 7th of October. The 7th of October, where Hamas and other terror entities invaded southern Israel, and in what can only be described as an orgy of carnage, murdered, mutilated, burnt alive, tortured, raped over 1,200 people, and took captive over 250, of which 50 still remain captive. 50 people who the world has forgotten. They might be the throwaway sentence in a statement by a world leader, but to us, they are family. To us, each one is a universe, and we will not rest until every single one of them is brought home safely. So let's start with the big topic, and that is the issue of humanitarian aid. And our audience question of the day comes from Jill in Florida, poses two very, very important questions. If I'm repeating myself during this broadcast, it is only because the veracity of the information is so important. So in the last couple of days, we have seen a vast amount of the mainstream media put out pictures of so-called starving children in Gaza. Now, I want to make something very, very clear. The humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip is dire. It is dire. There has been nearly 2 years of war, and the way that Hamas prepared the kinetic battlefield with tunnels in just about every building, residential, school, mosque, hospital, you name it. Hamas embedded themselves within their civilian population, using them as a massive human shield. However, the media's sole focus for blame has not been on the internationally prescribed terrorist organization Hamas, who committed these atrocities and has sworn to commit them again and again and again. Their scorn is shown towards Israel. And on the front page of a variety of newspapers, two children were featured. The one is Osama al-Raqqa, and the second is a little boy called Muhammad. Now, on first glance, it is horrific. Emaciated, tiny bodies looking like they are severely struggling with malnutrition. However, there is more to the story. And Lay of the Land's website will be featuring the brilliant expose by David Collier, who really should win a Pulitzer Prize, how he has exposed the media's exploitation of little Muhammad. That will be on layoftheland.online and our Facebook page in the next day or two. But let's address Muhammad. Muhammad was photographed, his spine sticking out of his back, cradled in his mother's arms, wearing a dustbin bag over his nappy. Now, what you didn't see was the rest of the photograph that showed Muhammad's brother, who was in perfect health, and the mother, who looks well nourished. Muhammad's story is he suffers from cystic fibrosis. But that didn't stop the mainstream media running with the narrative that Israel is deliberately starving children in Gaza. None of them stopped to do the research. If there was a famine in Gaza, dire starvation, the images of starving children, not one, not two, but multiple, and starving adults would dominate. Cut to little Osama al-Rafah. He's a little boy who suffers from a genetic disorder, and on the 12th of June, he was safely evacuated by Israel's soldiers, notably the Kogat unit, the unit that is responsible for the coordination of humanitarian aid. And he and his brother were evacuated safely to Italy, where he is receiving treatment. He is not even in Gaza, but not one single journalist thought to check the important details on the ground. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because we've seen in the last couple of days world leaders, human rights organizations, the media, and people roundly attacking Israel and accusing the Jewish state of starving children and civilians in Gaza. Last week, I brought you the news that there was still nearly 1,000 trucks and pallets of food waiting for collection from the United Nations, who have said it's too dangerous to collect it because their trucks are looted. The IDF offered them a security escort, which they refused. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation offered to partner with them, and they refused. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, while not absolutely perfect, has managed to distribute over 95 million meals. And as somebody rightly pointed out, I think it was on British TV today, why do we see overweight and well-nourished adults? Why are the children supposedly starving? Wouldn't you want to feed your child first? Yesterday, lawyers and various commentators went down to the Kerem Shalom border crossing with Gaza. And I'm going to try and show you, if you are patient with me, what they saw. This is the aid that is waiting for distribution. In that aid is baby food, is flour, is medicine, is everything that people need to eat and to maintain a healthy life in Gaza. Let's zoom in. That is all waiting. That is all waiting for the United Nations to collect it. It's still sitting there, rotting in the blazing heat, while Israel is accused of deliberately starving the people of Gaza. Coupled with this, the IDF began airdrops, as did the United Arab Emirates and Jordan. Now, I, as an Israeli, I do not want to see anyone suffering in the Gaza Strip. But it must be noted that food is going in, medical help is going in. No hostages are coming out. And we saw the condition of the hostages that were released. They are starving, they are tortured, if they're still alive, and no one has said a thing. And the reason I think it's important to address is because you know and you deserve to know the truth. So I ask you all, please, in the next couple of days to keep an eye out for David Collier's in-depth look at the story of little Muhammad, and when it's up, to share it as far and wide as you possibly can. In other news, yesterday, Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned the French embassy's chargé d'affaires for a reprimand. This follows the announcement by French President Emmanuel Macron on Friday that he intends to recognize a Palestinian state at the UNGA in September. Now, question, Mr. Macron, where will the state be? What will be its capital? Who will lead it? You know, all those tiny details that make up a state. Macron is trying to get many more countries in the international community to join his campaign. Now, Israel's foreign ministry said to the Chargé d'Affaires that this announcement seriously jeopardizes ceasefire talks. Last week I spoke to you about the letter written by 28 countries. Israel's foreign minister said, we are in a very, very delicate time of negotiations. And effectively what Macron has done is put our hostages in jeopardy and given the green light to Hamas that they don't have to agree to a ceasefire. Now, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio went even further. He said that Macron's announcement is a slap in the face to the victims of the 7th of October. Israel condemned the decision by Macron. And President Donald Trump, who at this very moment of recording is meeting with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer in Scotland, Trump said it makes no difference, that basically France are irrelevant. It's not going to change the situation on the ground. But effectively what France has done is rewarded the Hamas terrorists for the atrocities committed on the 7th of October. Now, there will be a conference at the UN in September that is chaired by France and Saudi Arabia with the aims of pushing forward a two-state solution. In the early hours of yesterday morning, the flotilla called the Hamdallah, this is the sequel to the Greta Madeleine flotilla, was peacefully intercepted by the Israeli Navy and those on board taken into custody. I don't know if they got a sandwich and a bottle of water. I'm sure they did, but the boat has been commandeered and taken into port at Ashdod. Now, while authorities didn't find much humanitarian aid on board, they did find 21 units of hashish. So yet another selfie flotilla intercepted, talking a whole lot of bollocks in the hope that the world will cheer them on. And finally, somebody who we can cheer on, and that is former hostage Ofer Calderon, who after 484 days was invited by the Israel Premier Tech cycle team to join them for the last stage of the Tour de France. And Calderon, who's a cycling enthusiast, I think was quite taken aback by just the scope of everything and just the magnitude of the event. And I don't think that there was a single dry eye amongst anyone in the Israeli team watching him cycle up the Champs-Élysées. And as he said, the best victory is to live. And finally, let's take a look at Jill's question. It's a two-part and it's very, very important. The first part is, why is the world silent about Egypt? Now, if people don't know where Gaza sits on the map, it is bordered by Gaza, but it is also bordered by Egypt, who have not opened up their borders and have not taken in any refugees, especially women and children, and have not let aid in until the pressure was applied. Under pressure to let in more aid, Egypt opened up and let in, I think it was about 37 to 39 trucks of aid yesterday. I mean, it's unbelievable how the whole world applies pressure to Israel, none to Egypt. And world leaders, first of all, don't contribute anything towards this aid. And second of all, haven't given a plan how we should be increasing aid. Just increase aid. And according to civilians in Gaza who managed to post to social media, they said that all that aid that went in at Rafah crossing was taken by Hamas. So all those 30-something trucks, that was taken, that was looted by Hamas. And the second part of Jill's question is, why is Israel expected to feed those who committed the atrocities of the 7th of October? Well, Jill, you hit the nail on the head. Because I did a little bit of research into this, and I always refer to the world's preeminent expert on war and especially urban warfare, and that is Major John Spencer. And I really, if you are on social media, I really encourage everybody to read his writings and Andrew Fox. These are two military professionals who are experts and students of the study of war, and they've gone into Gaza. In fact, I think they are in Gaza as we speak, to assess the situation for themselves. And Spencer did a comparison, how much aid has been given to enemy combatants in the world's history of wars. And Israel is unprecedented. No humanitarian aid has been given in other wars. Israel, of course, is held to a different standard and demonized and accused of genocide when it's not up to the non-existent levels that the world expects it to be. And I just want to end by saying Israel's not a perfect country. God knows we make mistakes, plenty of them. And there is room for much criticism. But to accuse us of genocide, to accuse us of mass starvation, is nothing less than a blood libel. So guys, I ask you please to share this edition of the Israel Brief. Apologize for the little messy bits trying to get you to see my computer screen, but I really wanted to show you the aid that's sitting in the heat on the Gaza side of the Kerem Shalom crossing, waiting for the United Nations to come and collect it. And guys, just a reminder, please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. Please like, share, and subscribe, especially now when we need to get the truth from Israel out to as many people as possible. We are on Facebook at Lottel's site, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, and on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, as well as Lay of the Land 5. Guys, that's it from me for today. I'm going to try and rest my voice so I feel better for you tomorrow. God bless you all, and I will see you again tomorrow. Hey, I didn't even manage to swear that much. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.